Welcome to the empowering world of Soultalk. People do not remember you for what you are. They do not remember you for what you do. They do not remember you for what you say to them. People remember you for how you make them feel. The following are how people want to feel: beautiful, confident, courageous, clever, feeling they are the best, good-hearted, helpful, lovable, loving, reasonable, special, strong, trustworthy, understanding, wise. Soultalk has motivational programs which bring out the best in people. The programs bring out all of the above qualities that have been mentioned in any human being. These programs have proven results for over 15 years among the youth, students, parents, teachers, university lecturers, managers, civil servants, the police, prison warders, prisoners, soccer players, churchgoers, farmers, and nurses. Other activities include leadership development, team building, diversity management, organizational enrichment, shared values, and coaching. Behind these dynamic and empowering programs is me, Mike Mwendane. And that's because I am committed to help change mindsets and help people to value themselves, to take responsibility, and to leave a legacy behind them.
People don't understand that they've got roles. And in the roles that they're supposed to play, they don't play it as well. For instance, in this country we have got over 9 million children that have no fathers. They have no fathers because the fathers of these children are not playing their role as fathers to these children. They just plant a sperm, donate it, and go away. What happens thereafter doesn't matter to them. It is their self-awareness, their self-knowledge, which means their consciousness in that regard is low. And consequently, children suffer. I don't have to talk about what happens to children, most children that have no fathers or parents. I meet them in prison there, whenever I go to prison. And they are in prison because they never got guidance. The father figure was not there. They had mothers, but the mothers were busy looking after their material needs because they have no other means, or they have no other time, and time is a resource, to look after these children. These children are playing around in the streets, and you find them committing crime, and they are there in prison. More than 60% of the boys and girls that are in prison are there because they have no fathers. They tell you, I don't have a father, I don't have. And when you count, you find that it's over 60% of prisoners, inmates, who do not have their fathers. They know, some of them know that the father is there, but the father is not attending to them. And some of them, the fathers are ATMs. They've got jobs that are paying them well, and all they do is to send money every month to the mother to feed these children. Now, that is what it means to play the role. And to play a role as a student, what is it? What does it mean to play that role as a student? The way that that role must be played. It is to obey the instructions of the lecturer. Because the lecturer wants to win, he has a goal too. And he must reach that goal. And that goal is to infuse enough knowledge to the student such that the student becomes capable of contributing to society. And sometimes we measure that by the examinations, or the rates that we get from examination exercises. And the lecturer, on the other hand too, has got a role to play, and he must play that role. Instead of not monitoring the student, and they're coming into class, especially in the basic education level, where they come in with their UNISA lectures, and they're busy reading the UNISA lectures while the children are left to their own devices out there. And then you find the passing rate is very, very, very low, to the extent that we've got now to reduce the level of the passing mark. Now it's 33 and a third percent. It is about playing roles, either on the part of the student or on the part of the teacher or the lecturer. Man, think of any other role, mother or anything like that. So we've got roles like parent, child, or daughter, son, friend, sports person. Yeah, I mean, all these roles are important, but do we ever think about them? Now, I normally advise people that they must write all the roles that they play in life and determine how these roles must be played. And these roles must be played according to the mindset that I've just mentioned here. Because when you play these roles around people. It's always around people. Even when you are simply a chemist in the laboratory, you are producing medicines or chemicals that are going to be used by people. How do you do that work? So you must do this work according to your purpose, which we are going to talk about later on. And then the threshold. See, in life, we've got this kind of thing. I remember when I was in Benoni growing up, I used to work in the gardens in North Mid there. And then one day they gave me 2 bags. One big bag and one small bag. Now there was rubble there that I had to put in these bags. And this rubble were 2 heaps of rubble. And I was supposed to put this rubble in the front there, into this bag, and at the back, this rubble into there. But as you can see, I can fill this or fill that one, but I should start with a big one, which was easy. I filled it up until the rubble came up to the brim there. And then this one, I used to fill it up, and obviously I couldn't fill it up. What do you do as a human being? Press it. And as you press it, it tenses up. You press it some more, it tears. Human beings are like that. There are some of us who are big bags, there are some of us who are small bags. And we're faced with the same situation, same size, same situation of exams. We're faced with the same situation of xenophobia. We're faced with the same situation of a relationship. We're faced with the same situation of maybe poverty, and so forth and so forth. And there are those of us who are small bags, they try to deal with this situation. They become stressed. They tense up. They become depressed. They become angry. And all those things that are associated with not achieving your goal. And these ones, everything fits in quite snugly into the big bag, into me who is a big bag, or into you who is a big bag in our group. Now, how do I solve the problem of a small bag? I add some more material onto it so that it can become a big bag. But when I am a human being and a small bag, in the way that I've just described in this analogy, can I change myself? Can I make myself a bigger bag? Can I make myself a bigger bag so I can contain that rubble, that situation or that circumstance?
how do we identify ourselves, and how do we, and the fears that we have. Because some of the reflections and questions were all about, if you're saying you want to change this, how do I then continue to identify myself, and how does my house and my environment continue to identify themselves? So I think the exercises and the journey that my Mr. Mwendani is going to lead us through will help us to deal with those issues, both at a personal level as well as an organizational level. We come from very diverse nations and backgrounds, but basically we are anchored in Africa. And we have to look at what prevails amongst us. We've got to try and be as accommodative as possible. Right now, if I were to go to Oxford University and study in Oxford, what culture am I going to get immersion in? The English culture. But it doesn't mean that there are only English-speaking people there, or people who are originally from Britain alone in Oxford. You'll find Russians, you'll find Chinese, you'll find whoever else. But that institution is anchored in the British culture, but it is accommodative. So this is what we are striving for. We are going to anchor ourselves in Africa, but we will be accommodative. If in our discussions, I mean, we have international students amongst us who come from various countries. If in our discussions we collectively agree that this resident would like to choose a Swahili name for it, let it be by agreement and through conversation. And that word should not just be necessarily about the Swahili language. It must have a meaning that all of us could identify with. So we are not going to say we have to have 3 Tsonga names, we have to have 2 Afrikaans names, we have to have 5 English names. That's not the exercise. The exercise is for us to find a common purpose and a common value in whatever we choose at the end of the day. I've never met a nation that is so accommodative and willing to give of its own in an effort to be welcoming than the South African psyche. If you go to China, they do the things the Chinese way. They still make you feel welcome, but they do things the Chinese way. And they are proud to be Chinese. If you go to, like right now in South Africa, the people who are immigrants and foreign nationals, they do things their own way without trying to lose themselves. They know they are in South Africa, they know they have got to learn the culture around them, but they still retain their being. What do we do as South Africans? What have we done as South Africans? And we've thrown away what is ours. Most of us, we know we have clan names. We have, what do we call them? I don't have the English word for it. Our cultures, you don't know them. Why? We are so accommodative. We want
to a fault.
To a fault. We want to make everybody else welcome to the extent that we don't know who we are. There's nothing wrong in saying this is who I am, but I'll still recognize who you are and accept you in my space. But this is me. I am a South African. What identified us? There's never going to be, don't ever go into this exercise thinking that you are going to, the cultures or the names that we come out with will be representative of the 101 nationalities that are in UJ. That is impossible. The university already has a language policy which identifies, which has recognized 4 of the South African languages, because it's impossible for us to even accommodate the 11 languages. So let alone go to all the nationalities that we have. And there are various ways of trying to accommodate this. In other universities, they end up having what they call an international house. And it would have a particular name from one of the international or foreign languages. And in that international house, their programming is such that they recognize, they look and say, okay, in our institution, we have got possibly people from 50 different countries. And throughout the year, they recognize, they know that, for example, it's on the 4th of July is the American Independence Day. Then on the 4th of July, they celebrate the American Independence Day. On the 3rd of March, it is the Ghanaian Independence Day. Then they celebrate that in that international house. There are ways, when we get into the debate of this whole naming thing, we will engage and explore all options, all possibilities. So don't go looking into it already with challenges that this is not gonna work. And by the way, you didn't decide on the foreign cultures that are in UJ right now. You have inherited them, and they came from a particular stance. One of the things that you are not aware of and you are shying away from discussing is that UJ's founding organization, particularly the dominant one, Rand Afrikaanse University, was the center of Afrikaner Broederdom. And hence, they had a mandate. And they knew what they were doing. But we have moved now. The university has transformed. The university is going somewhere. It's not there. So these things that are coming from the past years, they were purposeful then. They had a meaning then. We are transcending into the next level. We are moving into another level.
My particular target to destroy is materialistic thinking, which is responsible for lack of vision, myopia, reduced productivity, corruption, and demotivation in this country. I use radio, public seminars, workshops, social media, the internet, and correspondence courses to spread this crusade of change. Your organization, whatever organization it is, can benefit immensely in terms of corporate organizational enrichment, as well as social investments programs from Soultalk's programs. And to contact me and my organization, visit our website, which is www.soultalk.co.za. That's how easy it is.